Welcome to Pain in the Grass, the official Lawn Pride podcast, where we dig deep into the real problems hiding in your yard. From weeds to grubs to mystery brown spots, we've got the dirt. Let's grow better together. Welcome to Pain in the Grass, the official Lawn Pride podcast, where we dig deep into the real problems hiding in your yard. From weeds to grubs to mystery brown spots, we've got the dirt. Let's grow better together.
Okay, so it's February 2026, and if you're looking out your window in North Charlotte, you're probably seeing what I'm seeing, which is a whole lot of brown.
Maybe some gray?
Maybe some gray, yeah. It's just a definition of off-season.
Yeah.
And I think the instinct is to assume your yard is just in storage mode, you know?
Yeah.
You put the mower away, you forget about it until April. It's a break.
It's a nice break for you. It is absolutely not a break for the ecosystem that's living in that soil.
See, that's exactly what I wanted to dig into today. We got this alert, and I'm using that word because it was flagged as urgent from Lawn Pride of North Charlotte. And my first reaction, honestly, was a little bit of cynicism. It feels like everyone wants to create urgency in the slow months, right? The sky's falling, buy our stuff. But then I read the actual, the agronomy behind it, and I realized my skepticism was maybe misplaced.
It's healthy skepticism, but yeah, in this case, the biology just doesn't support the idea of a dormant winter. The alert's called winter pests and weeds, which sounds generic, I know. But the subtext is what's really interesting. They're basically arguing that the difference between a great lawn in May and one that's a total mess in June is all decided by what's happening metabolically right now.
Metabolic activity in a dormant lawn. That sounds like a tree. If my Bermuda grass is brown, it's asleep.
The grass is dormant, yes. Its metabolism has slowed way, way down to save up carbohydrates in the roots. But that's the vulnerability right there.
Okay.
The thieves, as the source calls them, these are plants and insects that do not go dormant in our climate zone. They're on a totally different clock.
So the defense systems are down.
Completely down. Think of it like a resource war. Your turf grass has a savings account, those carbs in the roots, to pay for that huge energy burst of greening up in the spring.
Right.
So if another plant steals the nitrogen from the soil while the grass is asleep, or an insect cuts off the roots that hold that savings account,
Then the check bounces in April.
the check bounces, and you get what they call a season-long struggle, which is just a nice way of saying you'll be chasing your tail all summer.
Let's get into these thieves then. The report starts with winter annual weeds. I know what a weed is, but winter annual. That sounds like a specific life cycle.
It is. These are plants that germinate in late fall. They grow all through the winter, and then they flower and drop seeds in the spring. They are biologically programmed to exploit the exact window where our warm season grass is just offline.
And the report calls out two that are apparently everywhere in North Charlotte right now. First one is Henbit. I feel like I know this one. I see it everywhere.
You definitely do. Lamium amplexicol. It's actually a member of the mint family.
Wait, mint? Like mojito mint?
The very same family, Lamiaceae. And that gives you the #1 identifying feature the report points out, the square stem.
Okay, I have to stop you. A square stem. That sounds like a geometry joke.
I know, it sounds weird if you've never felt one, but it's a defining trait. If you go outside right now and roll a henbit stem between your thumb and forefinger, you will feel sharp edges. It's a little four-sided box.
Does that shape give it an advantage or something?
It helps with rigidity for growing fast, but for us, it's just the easiest way to ID it. Round stem, something else, square stem with those little purple tube-like flowers, that's henbit.
The report says it targets thin or stressed turf. Why is it so opportunistic?
It all comes down to light. Henbit is not a great competitor against a really thick lawn, but in a Charlotte winter, you have a thin spot from a dog maybe, or some shade, and light hits the soil. That's the trigger.
And then there's our weather. The report mentions temperature fluctuations.
This is so critical for our region. We don't get a steady freeze. We get that sawtooth profile. It's, 28 degrees one night, 65 the next afternoon.
The false spring, we get like 3 of them every year.
Exactly. And warm season grass hates that. It stays dormant. But henbit, it loves it. That little flash of warmth is a huge growth spurt. So every nice day in February, the henbit is photosynthesizing and spreading, and your lawn's just hitting snooze.
So by the time real spring arrives, the henbit is established, and the grass wakes up to a party that's already started.
A party where all the food's been eaten.
Okay, the second offender on the list, chickweed. Stellaria media. This one sounds physically different. Henbit grows up, but they say chickweed creates dense mats.
Totally different growth habit. Chickweed is prostrate, it crawls along the ground, small opposite leaves, and these tiny little white flowers that look like stars, hence stellaria.
And why is the mat formation so bad? Is it just crowding?
It's actually more insidious than that. When chickweed makes that dense mat over the soil, it changes the entire microclimate right at the surface. It traps moisture and keeps the soil cooler.
So it's physically stopping the ground from warming up.
Yes. Your grass needs the soil to hit about 65 degrees to really get going. If you have a mat of chickweed shading the soil and holding cold moisture, you are delaying your lawn's spring wake-up call. You're keeping it asleep longer.
That is fascinating and depressing. It's terraforming the yard to help itself.
And remember our soil type here, we have that heavy red clay. Clay holds moisture like a sponge. Chickweed loves cool, moist soil. So our native ground is basically a 5-star resort for this weed.
Okay, so we've got the botany. We have square stem towers and moisture-trapping mats. But then the alert shifts to something that surprised me even more. The insect underground.
Yeah, this is where that whole winter kills the bugs idea really hurts people.
But that's the assumption, right? It dipped below freezing, surely everything's dead.
A lot of insects don't die. They go into what's called diapause. It's like hibernation. But here in North Charlotte, our frost line is super shallow, if we even get one.
So the ground itself isn't freezing solid.
Not deep down, no, and that's where the grubs are. The report specifically warns about grubs from last fall that are still damaging root systems. These are usually the larvae of Japanese beetles, June beetles.
And what are they doing, just chilling down there?
If it's mild enough, and in our clay it often is, they're still feeding. Or they already did the real damage last fall, but the effects are what you see in spring.
So what are they physically doing to the roots?
They're just chewing through them, right below the soil surface. They're literally severing the connection between the plant and the ground.
So the plant loses its anchor and its drinking straw.
Precisely. And that brings us to the diagnostic tip that I thought was the most valuable thing in this whole report. It's the pull test.
I read this and I immediately wanted to go try it. Explain what it is.
It's just simple physics. Healthy grass, even when it's brown, has a really strong root system holding it down. If you grab a handful of your Bermuda right now and pull, it shouldn't move. It should feel bolted down.
And if you have grubs,
it lifts up like a loose piece of carpet.
that's a pretty gross visual.
It's unsettling, but it's an immediate diagnosis. The roots are gone. The grubs have sliced them clean off. If you can peel your lawn back, you have an insect problem.
And this all ties back to the weeds, doesn't it?
Mhm.
The feedback loop.
It's a death spiral. The report says lawn stress from insects makes weed problems worse. Grubs sever the roots, the grass thins out, thin grass lets light hit the soil, light hits the soil.
And triggers the henbit.
And triggers the henbit. So you've got rootless grass being outcompeted by weeds that love the temperature. It's a complete system failure.
Which brings us to what we're supposed to do about it.
Yeah.
And this is where the debate always gets hot, the natural approach versus the chemical approach.
It usually feels like you have to pick a side, right? A moral choice.
Yeah, you're either saving the planet or you're nuking the yard. But this source material seemed way more pragmatic. It's not a binary choice.
It's diagnostic. The whole argument is that the right solution depends entirely on the stage of your problem.
Okay, let's start with the natural methods. They talk a lot about soil health, prevention, especially aeration. We hear about aeration all the time. Why is it a natural defense?
It goes back to our red clay. Clay particles are microscopic plates. They stack together really, really tightly. That's compaction. Roots can't get through it, and oxygen can't get in.
The grass is suffocating.
Essentially, yeah. Core aeration physically pulls out plugs of soil. It creates space. It fractures that compacted structure so air and water and nutrients can finally get down to the roots.
And the idea is that a deep root system is the best defense.
That's the whole philosophy. A thick, healthy turf crowds out weeds naturally. If you can get your grass dense enough, the henbit seed never even gets the light it needs to germinate. You win before the fight even starts.
But, and this is the big but for a lot of people, what if the henbit is already there? What if your lawn already feels like a loose carpet?
Then you're past the point of prevention. Aeration is too little, too late. That's where the report pivots to professional chemical treatments as a necessary intervention. You have to reset the balance.
I want to talk about the pre-emergent concept they mentioned.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just hear weed killer.
It's totally different. A post-emergent kills a plant that's already growing. A pre-emergent creates a chemical barrier in the top inch of soil.
Like a shield.
It's like a microscopic minefield. When a weed seed sprouts and sends out its first little root, it hits that barrier, and the chemical stops it from being able to divide its cells, so the weed dies before you ever even see it.
But the timing on that has to be everything. If the weed is already up, the shield does nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And this is why local expertise is so important. The timing for pre-emergent in North Charlotte is based on soil temperature, not a date on the calendar. You have to get it down before the soil consistently hits 55 degrees.
And with our fall springs, that could happen in February.
It could. And if you wait until you see dandelions, you've missed that window by a month and a half. That's why the big box store approach can fail. You buy the bag on a sunny Saturday, but the soil chemistry says you're already too late.
So let's build a decision matrix for someone listening. Based on this alert, how do you decide what to do?
It's an honest assessment. Condition A. Your lawn is thick, you do the pull test, and it's solid, you see no weeds. Your action is stay the course. Focus on natural health.
Okay.
Condition B. You see the purple flowers, you see those mats of chickweed, the grass is thin. Your action is you need chemistry.
Yeah.
I targeted post-emergent now for what's there, and a pre-emergent immediately to stop the next wave of summer weeds.
And condition C. The carpet pulls up.
Condition C is a full-on rescue mission. You need an insecticide for the grubs, and you probably need to be thinking about seeding or sodding later because that turf might just be dead.
This really explains why they stress calling a pro like Lawn Pride for our specific area. That clay soil must complicate the chemical part too.
Immensely. Clay has what's called a high cation exchange capacity. It holds onto chemicals differently. If you just dump a standard dose on it, the product might bind to the clay and never get down to the roots where the grubs are.
So you could use the right product, but the soil itself stops it from working.
Exactly. Or it rains and it just washes right off because our clay drains so poorly. A pro is tracking things like degree days, heat accumulation, to predict exactly when pests will emerge.
That's data I definitely do not have.
No, and you shouldn't be expected to.
The report had one last fun fact. Google searches for lawn problems spike right about now.
Which totally validates their alert. People go outside on a warm Saturday, they finally look and they see the disaster. Then they panic.
But the irony is, if you're searching how to fix my weeds in February, you're already on defense.
You're reacting. The whole point of this deep dive and the source material itself is to get you to be proactive. If you deal with the square stems and the grubs now, you won't be searching for how to fix my lawn in July. You'll just be mowing it.
It's mowing it. That's the dream. Okay, let's wrap this. If I'm stepping outside in 5 minutes, what am I doing?
Step 1. Look closely, not at the overall brown, but at the details. See purple flowers with square stems, henbit. See low, dense mats with tiny white stars, chickweed.
Step 2. The physical exam.
Grab a handful of turf, especially in a brown spot, and give it a firm pull. If it holds, great. If it lifts up, you've got grubs.
And step 3, choose your strategy.
Don't be ideological, be effective. If the weeds are already there, use the right tools to clear the board. If your lawn is holding strong, support it with good soil health. But whatever you do, do not ignore it just because it's winter.
Because nature is definitely not ignoring it.
Nature is having a feast.
That is a terrifying image, but a necessary one. You know, I can't stop thinking about that square stem on the henbit.
It really stuck with you.
It did, because it's such a tiny detail. You'd walk past it 1,000 times. But that one little thing, the squareness, it's the clue to this entire biological family and its whole strategy. It makes you wonder what other square stems are hiding in plain sight all around us, you know?
Little indicators of a massive underlying reality.
Yeah, if we just bothered to stop and roll them between our fingers.
That's the essence of observation right there. The world is a lot more complex than just green grass and brown grass.
Well, I'm going to go inspect my weeds. For everyone listening, thanks for diving deep with us. Good luck defending the turf.
See you out there.
Thank you for listening to the Pain in the Grass podcast, sponsored by Lawn Pride of North Charlotte, Huntersville, your go-to name in turf care for homeowners and businesses seeking beauty, quality, and reliability, powered by family and fueled by passion. Until next time, make sure to take care of that pain in the grass.